Thank you, everybody, for joining us. It's a bit of a surreal and inspiring moment to follow David's story and the Softex story, because 3 years ago I met him at this Cultivate event in San Francisco, and we had lunch together, and he was talking about what is this talent intelligence thing and how do we start with change management and transformation, and then to see their story and hear all the things they've accomplished, it's incredibly inspiring to just see how far they've come, and now to be following him as a speaker on this stage. So that is the power of what this technology can do, and the power of coming to events like this to hear stories from leaders like David and like from Hugo. So Hugo, we've been working on this session, and when we were meeting to prepare, you told me that you had an office view of the beach. So this is your office this week. How did we do?
I'm feeling home.
Did I give you a nice view of the beach?
Thank you very much for that.
Okay. So again, my name's Jason Serrato, and as mentioned, I'm a part of the transformation team here. I traveled all the way from the East Coast, and that was a big trip. Took most of the day earlier this week to get here. You traveled all the way from Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah, from Rio de Janeiro, I arrived yesterday, so it was a great trip.
We appreciate you making the effort to get here, and we'd love to hear your story, because you made a journey to get here, but we also want to hear about your talent journey. So the first part is, I'd love to hear a little bit about your personal story in the world of talent acquisition and how you came to the role that you have today with Vale.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you very much for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here. Such a great event, such great content, great networking. Wish I had the digital twin now to support me with English vocabulary, not to miss anything that I want to tell. I'm from Brazil. I was born in Rio de Janeiro. I'm father of 3 beautiful daughters, and I started working with talent in Make 18, 19 years ago. First, I worked for a specific consulting firm in Brazil. Now one of the top 3 consulting firms in Brazil focused on human resource services. It was like an entrepreneur journey, because I joined the consulting firm when it had 10 consultants. It was a very interesting journey, because there I learned how to interview executives, how to recruit executives, how to build recruiting programs, how to make assessments and construct leadership development programs. And I started working for different type of clients with different sizes, some of them Brazilians, other multinational companies. And at that moment, after 13 years, I worked for a specific company named Mercado Libre, that is also 8 full customers. And I started recruiting some executives to Mercado Libre in Latin America. Mercado Libre is like Amazon from Latin America, and at that moment was in a hyper-growth journey. And they invited me to change the side of the table and to support them internally, recruiting professionals for that hyper-growth moment. So when I arrived at the company, it had like 10,000 employees, and 4 years later, it had 75,000 employees. So wow. In 4 years, a huge advance. And that showed me the impact of our area, because at a specific moment, we had more new hires leaders than leaders with more than a year inside the company. Wow. So if we hired in the wrong way, probably the company would be in another culture, in another moment. So it was very interesting. And later I was invited to join Vale. It makes a year. Next week I will celebrate my first anniversary at Vale. And what motivated me to make this change, it's a huge change, because e-commerce, fintech, it's like sexy as an industry, it's a modern industry, and mining sometimes is viewed as an old school industry.
I was just going to ask, Mercado Libre to Vale, very different.
Completely different in terms of attraction to look for the best talent. It's completely different, the way that we need to connect with these people, and that motivated me. And when we see Vale's history is beautiful. It's a Brazilian company, one of the top mining companies around the world, living a very strong cultural transformation. And I assumed talent acquisition, onboarding, offboarding, and employer branding, trying to put talent as the center of the the decisions inside the company. So it's interesting.
But I bet you when people in the audience are thinking of mining, the mining they're thinking of is very different from the mining that you're doing today or where Vale's going in the future. The mining industry is changing. As a result, your strategy is changing, the skills are changing, the talent you're going after is changing. Can you talk a little bit about the mining industry today?
Sure.
And the way that's impacting strategy and what you're doing in the talent space?
Sure. Yeah, it's a very good question, Jason, because everything that we built as a society until nowadays depended on critical mining in some way. And everything that we look forward and we believe that we want as a society, AI that we are talking a lot about here, decarbonization, electrical transformation, all these depends on critical minerals. So mining is the future, is building the future together. So the first thing that we need to do is to present this new perspective about mining. I read a research last year, McKinsey prepared it, about the industries and the attraction of these industries to the young talent, and mining is the first detractor when we talk about young talents from 15 to 30 years old. So we need to connect with these talents and to present this new way of understanding mining as a sector. And we also need to present why the professional mining changed. It's not that industry anymore. It uses technology, innovation. It cares about the environment, it cares about the society, and Vale is doing this in a very interesting way during this last year.
So as the world is going green, Vale's trying to go green as well. And I was listening to your CEO talk the other day, was saying around how minerals will be the new oil, especially with how you're powering the future. So a big part of the talent strategy is first changing the perception, right? But then a big part of this is also branding and skills, so a skills strategy. This morning, we saw a little look into the future. But in your role today, you're applying some of these technologies right now. In your organization, is it one where you're approaching this from a perspective of transformation or from efficiency? Or is it both at the same time?
Both. It needs to be both at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah, and comparing the industries that I just told you, Mercado Libre and Vale, Vale is not in a hyper-growth moment, and we are reviewing our organizational chart, reducing our headcount, so it's a completely different moment. It seems like for talent acquisition, it would demand less for me, but no, I never worked so hard than when I'm working during this year, because we need to transform and we need to bring efficiency also to the process. And when we talk about the world looking and facing green, it's very interesting to connect what a mining company, a serious mining company, can do to protect the environment on this perspective too, Jason. Vale, in Brazil, we operate in 3 different regions in Brazil. And when I talk about operate, I'm talking about the mining, the railway, and the port. The biggest one is in the north part of Brazil, where we have our Floresta Amazônica, the Amazon forest. The area that we operate there, it has more than 800,000 hectares. As a perspective, it's like 5 times the size of London.
Oh.
It's the size of the Amazon forest the region that we operate. We protect this area. And our minings represent only 2% of this 800,000 hectares. The other are 100% preserved by Vale and the government. And when we make like a zoom out and look at the map of the Amazon forest in the region, besides this, it's devastated. A lot of these parts are devastated. So we can create an environment where the public and the private work together, pursuing business, social care, and environmental responsibility. And that's a proof when we look to the map and the impact that we are causing in the Amazon forest.
So part of that is building a sustainable business strategy, and we've talked a lot about aligning HR strategy with business strategy. So at the same time, you're also trying to apply talent intelligence and skills to build sustainable careers, right? So one of the things that we've been discussing is how you're applying this with talent attraction. You've also discussed how you've been applying this for employees with internal mobility and trying to change culture and change some perceptions. Can you talk a little bit about how you're approaching this with the organization?
Yeah, this is a very interesting challenge because at the beginning, Vale was a public company. It became private, it makes around 50 years. And recruitment, talent acquisition at all, wasn't seen as a strategic area. And don't have a lot of credibility. The people believed that to be hired by Vale, you needed to know someone internally.
Sure.
So what we are trying to do is to put talent acquisition in the center of the decisions. But to do this, we need to bring the leadership together. We need to present why. We need to present with data, with technology, looking forward, connected to the business, what we need to bring to the company to pursue what we want in 10, 15, 20 years. So it's a journey. After 1 year, I realized that we are doing a great journey because we just had a kickoff meeting with our operations VP, one of the most senior leaders that we have. And at the end, he told me, Hugo, everybody here needs to be a headhunter. And I told him, yeah, exactly this. I put this phrase in all slides that I have now,
Sure.
because we need to put the mentality of recruitment inside our leadership team, something that wasn't common at Vale. So this is the first thing that we are doing, changing the mentality and bringing all the agents to the process. It's not only talent acquisition, only the recruiter responsibility to do this. And after changing the mentality, we are, of course, changing our process, empowering our people inside the talent acquisition area, and putting technology to guarantee the advance of the journey.
Now, one of the things you shared was this perception of it's who you know, it's who you've touched, it's who's had experience with you. One of the things that this allows is for greater transparency and visibility for employees. Can you share how this is changing the employee experience?
Yeah, we are trying to bring this perspective of talent marketplace internally, right? To give visibility of all positions that we have inside the company, to make a transparency process. The people can apply and participate in a very interesting and friendly journey in the internal processes. So the first phase to achieve this mentality that I told you is the persons inside Vale, when they participate in an internal recruiting process, they see this. So it's the first step that we need to put them inside this journey and make them realize that we are recruiting in a different way.
Sure.
It's in the first phase, but I believe that we are in a good journey.
Now, how about when you saw Ashu and Chano speak this morning, we talked about agentic AI and increasing the automation, and you talked about the balance of transformation and efficiency, right? So Ashu coined it as the age of time and giving time back. What does it mean to increasingly incorporate intelligence and efficiency and automation in giving time back to recruiters, for example?
Yeah.
What does that unlock for Vale?
Yeah, it's another great question. We really need to be connected to what the business needs and wants. And at Vale, at sometimes we were creating programs from our perspective inside the office, but 90% of our headcount is inside operations. So we had like talent acquisition politics, human resource politics based on the needs that the executives thought that were the business needs. So the first thing is we need to go inside operations and understand the basics. So we are starting from this chapter. And also, we are not working anymore in a one-size-fits-all. Vale, you have different regions that we operate with different cultures and different social environments. And also, you need to divide our pyramid in three You have the operational recruitment that we have. Maybe 70% of our recruitments are for the technical operations area, and we need to build a process to this kind of recruitments, right? And we need to be creative, because sometimes these guys aren't in LinkedIn. So we need to create campaigns to put QR code in soccer games, in churches, in events, to bring these people to the journey, to the funnel, and to take care of them inside our recruiting process. And Eightfold support us a lot, because we bring them to the journey, and we have this data visibility. Oh, this funnel in the corridor north of Brazil, we have a solid and very satisfied number of candidates. Here in Minas Gerais, we need to make another campaign. We need to develop the people from the society, because we don't have enough professionals ready to what we need. So this, we need to create a persona and looks different. The middle part of the pyramid, we need to create a more friendly process, create a more connected process, presenting Vale to this person in a better way. And the top leadership positions, here we need to have a very customized process. And all of this, I was talking to my team another day, maybe talent acquisition area in Vale is the unique area that direct make contact with more than 100,000 people, direct by mail, interviewing, phone interviewing, personal or virtual interviewing. So maybe it's the unique area that has this power to connect to this number of people and take this message to these people. So we really need to prepare our recruiters to spread this message that I was talking to you in all these three different candidates.
But I want to go back and kind of double click on some of the words you chose. I listened very carefully, and I love the way...
I don't know if it were the best words.
No, it's okay. I love the way you described this, because you talked about being more connected. So has this, the way the platform works and the way you get better visibility, has this created better connection between the talent acquisition process and the talent management process? Has it become more of a talent process? We called this session talent at the core, but to continue the corny puns, you're mining for talent inside your organization, right? So whether you're recruiting new people or trying to find people already within your organization, has this created a more connected process?
Yeah, it's creating. We are in the first to the second chapter, and it's creating. We see this in a very tangible way. And I saw this working in Mercado Libre too, that there we had the full journey inside the platform too, and it's a very talent-oriented company. So we are trying to bring this perspective to Vale too, and it's happening already.
Now, the question that started this discussion was, what does it mean to give time back to the recruiters and the HR function? Taking that a step further, what does it mean to give time back to Vale?
Yeah, to think about innovation, to think about the future of mining, to think about social responsibility to the communities that we work. So if we have our team with more time, we will be able to explore new ways to do this and to achieve what we need as a society for the future.
There was an HR Business Review article from probably over 15 years ago that I read that just sticks out in my memory, because I remember it said, often HR is seen as being in place to do two things, create friction or create flow, right? And I think with the pace of change and the speed of business, we can't be in the business of friction,
exactly.
right? So this is all about creating flow. What do you see as one of the better advantages around the candidate experience? You mentioned very quickly going to where the talent is. Yeah. You talked about reaching out to the football clubs, to the churches, all the new ways you're doing talent attraction. What about the candidate experience?
Yeah, and we achieve different types of people, and when we talk about recruiting for Vale. So we need to provoke this good experience for these baseline positions. And we are inside some regions that Vale is the main company at the region. So we have a very powerful position in that region as the biggest company and the provider of a lot of things. So we have this responsibility to everybody that is participating in our recruiting process needs to feel part of it, because it's part of the society that we are in. So we need to guarantee this good experience for these candidates. But we also need to be very connected to the technical, specialized professionals, because we keep recruiting a lot of engineers, a lot of professionals, very experts in mining sector, and we need to be connected to these people since the university. So create a good journey connecting with these professionals since the university is fundamental. So we recreated the journey of the candidates for different personas, and we are seeing very great results in our NPS surveys. So we increased 5.5% the score of our NPS of the candidate experience after we divided the journey in different personas.
Sure.
And we present this survey at the end of the process to all the candidates that didn't get approved. So they receive a survey to answer how was the experience with the recruiting process. Right?
Now, I've been in the TA space for quite some time. You've been in the TA space for quite some time. You saw some of the demos and the videos we saw this morning. With that much automation and efficiency, what do you see as where your TA team will be spending their time going forward? What is the work of a recruiter in 2026, 2027?
Yeah, I do believe that we need to look for the entire journey of our recruiting process and realize what phases that technology will do it much quickly and much better than a human do. So everything that we were presented during this morning gives me, of course, a little bit of fear, because some of them are wow, but a very positive perspective of the way that this journey will be more friendly and more impactful. So, but how to combine this with humanity, and the recruiters in the specific parts of the process can provide this humanity in the evaluation or in the discussion of that candidate with the hiring manager. So what I see for the future is the recruiting process divided in different parts, and technology taking part of that they do much better than a human do nowadays. And the recruiter will be able to discuss about the talent in another level, to receive this data, this information, and to provoke the hiring manager about the best decision. So probably it will exigate more of our recruiter in the future.
So you've used this technology now at two different companies in two different industries, and here you are after kind of year one at Vale. We just saw David on stage kind of in year three. If we have you back 2 years from now, where will the Vale story be? What is next for Vale on this journey?
Great. First, we need to be recognized again as the top of mind company in Brazil. We used to be years ago, when it was a public company, very connected to the government. And now we need to reshape this. So in 3 years, I really want to see our employer brand in the top of mind for a professional in Brazil that desire to be at Vale. And I really want to see the talent acquisition area as part of the most strategic decisions that we have at the company. I saw this happening at Mercado Libre, and I know that it works. I saw it happening in another different industries when I was a consultant, and I do believe that we can do this at Vale. For this, we need to build trust. We need to build a process that provides data and information to our leadership team, that they will want our opinion. They will open their agenda to our opinion. So in 3 years, I hope we are there.
Are you thinking about things like succession planning, workforce planning, trying to deal with the uncertainty? You know, the only thing that's constant is change. Is that on the radar for Vale?
Yeah, one of our topics for the annual bonus this year for the whole company is succession mapping. because we just lived a moment last year, just the moment that I arrived, we had the succession plan of our CEO. The ex-CFO is now our currently CEO. But before that, after that, we had the change of our CHRO, our CFO, and our legal vice president, all of them coming from the market to Vale. So we realized that we don't have a strong pipeline for critical roles. So succession plan is one of our main goals this year. We need to map all the critical roles. If you don't have the talent mapped, how we will accelerate the development of the internal talents, or maybe proactive, make an external mapping to have this succession plan internally and externally well mapped. And technology is fundamental because we need to develop and to reshape some skills inside the company.
Last evening at the reception, there was some discussion around the role of the manager in this future of work. And we've talked a little bit about company culture. We've talked about the candidate, the employee. Can you talk about how your company's addressing the role of the manager?
Yeah, well, we realized that we need to accelerate the development of our leaders. And not only the leaders that is at Vale for a long time, because Vale, we don't have a huge turnover, so we have around 80% of the turnover of the company. And our leadership team, the average time at the position is around 9 years at the same position. So we have leaders in that position for a long time. But we didn't provide them a great development path to become a solid leader. So we need to prepare our leaders for the future. And we are working hard to reshape our development politics to do this. And we also have another challenge, because since we are not so attractive to the young talents, these leaders, they are not learning how to lead the new generation, because we don't have this new generation inside Vale in a huge perspective. Our average of age inside Vale is 41 years old, and the whole company. So we need to bring this young talent inside the company and make our leaders learn how to lead this talent too, because these will be our leaders in the future also.
Well, one of the things that I hope you enjoy from the week is all of the sessions we have planned and all of the learnings, like the sessions that have already happened, so you can take some of this back and share it with them, because I would be interested to hear what they think about some of the things that we're talking about here this week, because they have such a huge role in driving a lot of this change and a lot of the future of work. And in some cases, we're making up for lost time, and they're dealing with a new generation, but we've almost skipped a generation because things have moved so fast. As we only have a little bit of time left, I want to give you a chance for any last parting words or words of advice, as you've now done this in a couple different places, for folks in the audience that are either just getting started or are thinking about beginning their own journey.
Listen to the business, build trust, connect humanity with technology, and realize that recruit is a very, very beautiful career. Sometimes I see that recruitment, talent acquisition as an area, sometimes is not valorized inside the companies such it should be. And when you put recruitment in the mindset of the company, it goes to another level of business transformation. Yeah. So maybe these are the main advices that I would like to give.
Well, I love the point you made, especially with some of the new innovations. If we are going to be gaining time, use that time to get closer to the problem.
Yeah.
And understand the business.
And do never underestimate the power of the recruitment team, because it can support you putting the message that you want as a company to the market. But if it's not well developed, maybe it will go to the wrong way. And we talk about technology, the same thing. It can potentialize the useful of the tool of Eightful as an example, or it can put trash inside the technology and don't bring the right results.
Well, we thank you so much for making the journey
you
from
very
Rio de Janeiro to Laguna Niguel, and we thank you so much for sharing your transformation journey with the audience.
It was a pleasure. Thank you very much.